his ankle surgery and the timetable for recovery for Dak. Dan Orlovsky is here. He's going to tell you how Seahawks receiver DK Metcalf has become the best closer in football. Mina Kimes, you see her there. Marcus Spears as well. We begin, though, with Adam Schefter and our top story, the latest on Dak Prescott. What do you know, Adam?
Laura, he underwent surgery last night. I'm told the surgery went, quote unquote, very well and was successful. And he was released from the hospital today. So he will now go home to rehab. And I'm told that this is about a 6-month rehab, but that he should be back 100% for next season without any questions. Now, the big question will be to monitor him in the coming days to see if any infection sets in for that compound fracture of the ankle. Again, they're saying 4 to 6 months. It's probably closer to 6 months. But whether it's 4 or 6 really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because he is on track to be ready for next season with his contract set to expire after this season. With Dak gone, obviously, Andy Dalton now takes over as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and his free agent signing from the Cincinnati Bengals now looms larger than ever.
We're going to have more from Adam later on the show, so stay right there, Adam, and more in this conversation. Guys, Dak has endured so much in his 27 years. He's had success, but he lost his mom in 2013. Then in April of this year, lost his brother to suicide. He's opened up about his own mental health and struggles with anxiety and depression. Now, this brutal injury. Marcus, now that you've had almost a full day to reflect on what happened to Dak, what are your thoughts?
Still just devastated. Obviously, we know the climate that Dak was in, playing under a franchise tag, but also just seeing a young player that's ascending and continuing to get better and better at the game lose a year, especially in 2020, in a tumultuous season anyway. With all of the things that are going on that are affecting the game, we lose one of our young budding stars. And then yesterday, Laura, I tweeted out, I was like, I would love to talk about the contract, just didn't have the stomach for it. Today I will. This is exactly why I said Dak Prescott should not have signed a franchise tag and should have waited it out with the Cowboys or let them decide to do what they were going to do. We all talk loosely about these type of injuries happening. Oh, what's the probability? You can get hit by a car just walking across the street. It's beside the point. Every time you step on that football field, every football player knows that possibility of what we saw Dak suffer is a possibility every single snap. And it just brings that to your mind when you see that transpire with this young career that's ascending as fast as anybody in the league.
Marcus is completely right about this, and I thought it was a reminder that football's not just a brutal game at times, but also a brutal business. Dak Prescott did everything right. He came into this league as a 4th-round draft pick, proved to be the best bargain in football for Dallas for years. He bet on himself twice. And my takeaway from this isn't that he was wrong necessarily to bet on himself, but that it stinks that he was put in the position where he had to bet on himself in the first place because of the system, which is stacked against players like him. The existence of the rookie wage scale and the franchise tag makes it very hard for players like Dak Prescott to get paid based on performance early on. Now, I think he's going to come back. You heard that injury timeline. I think he's going to come back strong, and I think he will get that long-term contract he so desires, but it's such a shame that he wasn't able to get it this season.
Yeah, I mean, when this happened in the moment, it was just so hard to process thoughts. Marcus, you know this, like as an ex-athlete, it kind of resonates with you. Like it just, when you see that athlete then on the field, it resonates with you because we've all been the 8-year-old that had the dreams of, fulfilling that I'm the quarterback of whatever team or I'm playing pro sports. We've all been the star high school athlete or the high school athlete that worked really hard to get there. We were all the kid in college that was doubted. And then the draft pick that maybe people said wasn't going to be good enough. And so when I think of that moment, I'm like, man, it's not just that injury in that specific time. It's like I see that wave of 10, 12, 15 years for Dak Prescott, and I try to process like how to get people to understand what potentially Dak might have been thinking. And I think there's different players in the NFL. There's guys that love football, and there's guys that love what football brings them. And I think what we saw yesterday was emotion from Dak because he loves football. Like he absolutely loves being the quarterback of that football team. And You know, being the quarterback is a very intimate thing. Like, yes, there was the contract part of it for sure. But it's also like I don't get to walk out there with my teammates on Wednesday for practice. Like, that's my huddle. This is my offense. And that's my Dallas Cowboys Stadium in many ways for Dak Prescott. And I just think he's one of those guys that takes immense pride in that. It's not the money for him. It's not the endorsements. That's his team. And that's his group of guys. And we throw around family and brotherhood in sports because they're real. Like, they're very real to us as athletes. And I just think that what we saw from Dak and his teammates yesterday was that wave of emotion of that reality, that wasn't going to be the case moving forward the rest of this season.
And Dan, I think you saw what Dak means to that organization, to that fan base, to everybody across the league with the outpouring of respect, support, and love that was demonstrated last night after his injury. And once we get past that and get to the business side of football, these two sides spent about 2 years trying to work out a long-term deal that they could not figure out. Dak wanted a shorter-term contract. Dallas wanted him on a longer-term contract. Maybe an incident like this shifts a little bit of the leverage to the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe it changes the dynamics of the negotiation, and maybe it makes it such that it's easier to work out a long-term deal. But there's no doubt that there is now the unknown that has been introduced because we don't know how Andy Dalton's going to play. Andy Dalton's got respect around the league. We don't know how this team is going to respond. What if Andy Dalton plays well, the team thrives? Are they going to tag Dak Prescott at $38 million and be willing to sign him to a long-term deal when Andy Dalton is half the price? There are a lot of questions that now come into play, and we don't know how it's going to play out. One thing that is unarguable is that Dak is an incredible leader, an incredible player, will have great value, but again, we just don't know now how this is going to play out.
Yeah, it's a great point. Hey, one of the things too, Marcus, today, Stephen Jones was asked about Dak, the chance that he might not be with the team. Somebody asked him that. He said, Dak is our future. What else do you want to add?
Yeah, I listen, you guys, Dan, Shefty, you right, and the points are super valid. Man, I ain't trying to hear all that, bro. Like, and it's not to y'all. It's about Stephen Jones and what he's saying. Listen, your franchise quarterback wanted a 4-year deal. Figure out how to get it done, if that's your guy. And then we'll revisit as far as extending beyond 4 years. Figure out how to get it done. And yeah, the leadership and the team and all of that stuff. Every single player out there on that field is playing for their livelihood, to take care of their family, period. And that I don't want to preface this by saying Dak won't be able to continue on and do that. But that's the same insinuation everybody had before he didn't get a deal done. The whole narrative was, well, he's fine. He gonna make 31 and then he gonna make 39. You don't know that. My point for screaming, you don't know when the catastrophic injury could possibly happen and your career be jeopardized by that. And to Shefty's point, now the contract negotiations may change. It's a whole new element in that whole ball game as far as negotiating a deal with a guy that has fractured his ankle. That's a different context, a different conversation. And I look at this on Dallas onus and look, man, do a 4-year deal with the guy that you say is the franchise guy. Figure it out. And then to Dak and his team, don't sign it. This is what happens. All right? So I just felt like I had to say that because it's always about what's going to happen. And don't worry about it. This is what happened.
You're exactly right. And they have continually said Dak Prescott is our guy, but the money and the years weren't there when it mattered most for Dak. He'll be tough to replace. Only Mahomes, Breeze, and Jackson have a higher QBR than Dak since he entered the NFL. We're just getting started on NFL Live, and a devastating injury in 2018 almost cost Alex Smith his career and his leg and maybe even his life. He miraculously returned to action. You don't want to miss his family's emotional reaction. We'll show it to you. Plus, forget quarterbacks. Sorry, Dan. Time for us to show you some love and respect to the big men. Big man ballin' is coming your way With Marcus Spears, he's ready to go. Wait till you see some of these big men. After a broken tibia and fibula, life-threatening infection, and 17 surgeries, his wife Elizabeth and kids with a standing ovation for him for his return to action. What a remarkable journey from Alex Smith. He was asked, did he believe this day was possible?
I mean, certainly was there, and I continued to reach for it and put it out there and strive for it. But no, I'd be lying if I was saying there weren't a lot of days when I didn't think it was going to happen. But you just kind of keep pushing through, and I always felt like when I had my darkest moments, there was always something around the corner that happened that I just kept kind of plugging along, and all of a sudden I made a big gain or a big step or something clicked, and and then I'd kind of keep marching, and and I felt like it would repeat itself, and all of a sudden then I'd make another jump.
One of the lasting images, I think, of this NFL season so far was Alex Smith's wife, Elizabeth, standing there. She said she was nauseous just watching him go back out on the field, but also cheering him on at the same time. You were in the same draft class with Alex Smith. What were you thinking when you saw him back out there?
Yeah, he was picked slightly higher than me.
Just a little bit.
Just when you watch kind of the story over the years kind of unfold, and you hear Alex Smith go, I want to go play again just so I could give it for the challenge. And then and then he says, I want to do it because I have kids and I want my kids to watch their dad say, yes, you can. For me as a parent, that just hit me emotionally, that he trots out onto that field and his wife is there with their kids and they're watching their dad kind of do the impossible, do what everyone told them don't do, or you can't do, or this isn't smart to do. It's kind of one of those examples of you just have your own attitude and you believe in it yourself. And you're convicted by it. And to just watch Alex say he was going to do it and then do it and get to see his family watch him kind of conquer that goal, it was incredible. It's the sports story of the year in 2020. It's the absolute sports story of the year. Comeback player of the year already. Salute Alex Smith. Incredible.
Okay, so it's a great story, no doubt. But, Mina, he was sacked 6 times. Should he be starting for this Redskins team?
I don't think so, and it's through no fault of his own, but I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I was watching that, I was inspired, but the whole time I was terrified, in large part because that offensive line can't protect him. They can't protect anyone, okay? Yesterday, they only won 36% of their pass blocks, according to our charting. That was the worst in the NFL. By comparison, the Browns' offensive line won 70%. He's not safe back there right now. I don't know if anyone is. I don't think any quarterback can elevate what's in front of them, but I really don't like seeing him get sacked that way and get hit that way behind that offensive line.
Yeah, Mina's right. He deserved better. Listen, I was scared, and his wife was nauseous. I was nauseous too, especially having to play Aaron Donald, damn it. When we looked at Alex Smith run on that field, I think it humanized the game for us. Sometimes we get caught up in these players and they work out and they robotics and they strong and they supposed to do this and they fight through injury and we take it for granted. The bottom line is it humanized everything. You saw family in the stands. You saw kids that need their dad to be available, to be around, to be able to move around. You saw a wife who goes through the ebbs and flows, ups and downs, injuries, non-injuries with their husband. Everybody takes this on, and I love that depiction showed that to everybody. And then to Mina's point, on the other hand, get him the hell out of there. I know Kyle was dealing with an injury. He should not start. It should be Kyle Allen. And let Alex Smith continue to get his feet wet if the plan is for him to continue to play and go forward. But don't let him do it at the expense of this offensive line, because obviously they didn't realize Alex Smith was in the game.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Dwayne Haskins wasn't even at the stadium. They said he was dealing with a stomach issue. Of course, he was benched earlier in the week, moved all the way to the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. And then Kyle Allen, to your point, was dealing with an injury. It felt like Ron Rivera didn't have a good place to go there. He didn't feel comfortable putting Kyle Allen back in the game.
Well, listen, if you don't have a good place to go, I get that. Your hands are kind of tied, but you also can be smart with how you protect the quarterback. You don't have to. Alex Smith has earned the right in this league to not be fed to the wolves. He has earned the right in this comeback to not go, hey, you're going to go play the second half of a blowout when we don't have a chance to win this football game. I just want you to take a bunch of hits. Because here's the thing. If you're going to do that, then you darn sure better start him the next week. If I'm good enough to take the beating in week 5, Coach, I'm good enough to take the beating in week 6.
Right.
So that's the issue that I have with that one.
And to your point, that we're saying that because Ron Rivera has said that Kyle Allen will start this next week. All right, it's time now for Big Man Ball, and I don't want to put this off any longer. Marcus, let's give some love to the big man. Let's go. Bring it to us.
Look at 96.
All right, y'all know what time it is. I caught a few big men balling this weekend, and we even stepped back in college. Look at Trey Hill coming down to recover a fumble. I don't know if he tried to do it, y'all, but he did it. Look at that thing end up in his pocket right there. I'm looking down at my screen. Don't worry about me looking at TV. The second play, we got Ali McNeil with a pick 6, baby. I'm used to that. I did that in college. The big fella getting down. And then we got the spin move by the big fella, Pagias. He's 300-pound, played quarterback in high school, if I'm not mistaken. Hits the spin move and then jumps over the fool. Like, listen, you cannot tackle me, small dude. The second thing, the New York Giants decided to take a play out of the Kansas City Chiefs playbook and throw Andrew Thomas a touchdown. Yeah, he bobbled it, but damn it, he caught it. And that's all that matters. That's a big man touchdown, baby. The big men keep balling, and I am not going to let ESPN or anybody else remove it from. And the last but not least, the oldest coach in the NFL, came in dancing, baby. Let's call him Dancing Romeo. Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? Got the dub with the Texans for the first win this year. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big men balling all over the place. And America, I am not going to let you unsee it.
You're the Shakespearean swagoo there. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? The Falcons started 0-5 for the first time since 1997 after a loss to the Carolina Panthers, and that meant that head coach Dan Quinn and GM Thomas Dimitroff have been fired. Defensive coordinator Raheem Morris been named the interim head coach. Here's team owner Arthur Blank just a little while ago with more.
It's called lack of winning. So the problems we have to solve are all the problems that are ahead of us that keep us from winning. This is not just a response to a 0-5. It's a response to really almost 3.5 years post Super Bowl. We've been playing less than 500 ball. And so when you look at that many games over a long period of time and you adjust for injuries, which every NFL team has, we just haven't performed at the level that we're capable of.
You know, the Falcons just haven't been the same team after losing in Super Bowl 51. They have a losing record and the only one playoff appearance in the 3+ seasons since. And while their offense has continued to be one of the best in the league, their defense ranks 30th in efficiency over that span, better only than the Dolphins and the Raiders. Adam Schefter joins us from the Domino's pregame headquarters. Adam, give us the latest around the league, starting with Michael Thomas's status heading into tonight's Monday Night Football matchup.
Laura, the Saints have ruled him out tonight, but it's not related to the high ankle sprain that he suffered in the opener. It's related to a fight that he had during practice this weekend with a teammate, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, for punching that particular teammate, for being combative. And the Saints felt like it was important to send a message to one of their best players that he is not bigger than the team. He is out for tonight's game. The Chargers are waiting to make a couple of decisions on Mike Williams and Joey Bosa. Mike Williams will warm up pregame. He practiced some this week. I think they believe that he should be out there. They want to see him pregame. Joey Bosa sounds like he could be down tonight. The Chargers just activated a defensive end from their practice squad. And Dalvin Cook suffered a groin injury on Sunday night. Keep in mind, the Vikings play the Atlanta Falcons this week in what will be the first game for interim head coach Raheem Morris, and then have a bye. So if they sit Cook this upcoming week, he would have 2 weeks to heal the groin injury that he suffered last night. Again, he's being examined by doctors. We'll see how severe the injury turns out to be, but it would not be a surprise if Cook didn't play this weekend. The COVID tests in New England and Tennessee came back clean this morning. That's a good sign for tomorrow night's Titans-Bills game and a good sign for this upcoming weekend's Patriots-Broncos game. But as Bill Belichick said over the weekend, Laura, we live day by day and hour by hour.
Yeah, Shefty, it's almost like second by second at this point. Hey, we will see you tonight on Monday Night Countdown right here on ESPN. 6 p.m. is when that thing starts. So Shefty live from New York with the rest of the crew there. How about some Sunday night action? Minnesota taking on Seattle, and Russell Wilson entered Sunday night's game against the Vikings with 33 career game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. That's the most by any quarterback since he entered the league in 2012. Number 34 was crazy, and Pete Carroll was hype.
Can you win the game in the first quarter? No! Can you win the game in the second quarter? No! Can you win the game in the third quarter? No! Can you win the game in the fourth quarter?
Is Pete Carroll really 69 years old? Anyway, we're going to get to that, but we got something else to get to here. Mina, a huge part of this on the Vikings side of things was with the 26-21 lead and at the 2-minute warning, Mike Zimmer kept his offense on the field, the 4th and 1 play from Seattle's 6-yard line instead of kicking a chip shot field goal. Dalvin Cook, of course, had the groin injury, so he's not available, but it doesn't work. Is that the right call?
Yes, it was the right call, just had a bad result. Here's what drives me crazy. Whenever a team goes for it and they convert, the next day everyone praises them for their aggression. I think about the Seahawks playing the Rams in 2018. Jared Goff kept the ball, 4th down, converted. Genius move, Sean McVay. When they don't convert, people blame the analytics, and we nerds are stuffed into our proverbial lockers, even though it was the right football decision. By the way, our own model said, from an analytics perspective, it was basically a wash. But all game long, Laura, this Vikings offensive line had been killing Seattle up front, not just Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison right there, been averaging over 5 yards a carry. It was the right decision. It just didn't have the right execution. If you can keep Russell Wilson off the field and win the game, you do it. And if they had done it, everybody would have been praising them today.
Yeah, fun fact about me, I actually used to get stuffed in lockers in high school, so that was fun. But very good points on the analytics there.
Shot.
I know, big surprise. Dan, the thing is, though, this Seattle offense was dynamic at times, and you have something to show us with that.
Well, I think the big thing is that Russell Wilson, has always been this nuanced quarterback that was great in the fourth quarters. What's happened with DK Metcalf is he's become a nuanced receiver, and it's changed this offense, especially at the end of the games. He came out of college, he was this big physical athlete, and I think being around a guy like Russell Wilson has taught him it's not just being big, fast, and physical. You got to be really smart. This is the game winner, okay? This is DK Metcalf right here. Now, Minnesota is playing man-to-man coverage. So a lot of times in the red zone man-to-man coverage, it's about pick plays, rub plays, right? Get in the way of the defenders. This is not one of those plays. DK Metcalf is going to be part of a top mesh right here, and Lockett's going to wrap behind him. So DK Metcalf off the line of scrimmage, number one goal. Do not make contact with that linebacker or that defender right there because it's going to slow you down. Watch the nuance that he plays with. Watch him, look at him, get vertical, get skinny, big fella. Get skinny right there to avoid that contact to allow you to continue to go on your route. No contact made. That's outstanding by DK Metcalf right there. But listen, it's not just about DK Metcalf. It's the whole football team. Minnesota is going to be firing both of these linebackers. Now, the tailback is going to have to make a decision. Which one is he going to go to? What linebacker is he going to go pick? Well, at first, he's going to go pick that linebacker. So now this leaves this right tackle. He's got a decision to make. It's called a double sift. Does he take that defensive end or does he take the linebacker? He is going to choose the linebacker. He's going to get married to the linebacker. Russell Wilson knows that. He's going, okay, you're bringing one more than I can protect. I want everyone to see where this ball is snapped from. This ball is snapped from that line right there, about the 6-yard line. Russell Wilson should really get back to about the 12-yard line max in his drop. But he knows that defensive end, he's going to come unblocked. I got to get away from him. Russell Wilson's going to drift back to about the 13, 14-yard line. Get himself away from that defender. Now back to DK Metcalf. I told you guys, he's got the top part of that mesh, right? This safety right here, that's DK Metcalf's number one focus. He's got one job. Do not allow that safety to get across your face and break up this throw. DK Metcalf has got to be, we call this what? Coming back to the ball, being friendly to the quarterback. Because look at the safety. Anthony Harris can drive on that football right there. Anthony Harris can drive on that ball and break it up. He's got vision right on Russell Wilson. I want everyone to see how good this is by DK Metcalf. Look at, here he comes. Here comes Harris. He's going to beat you to that point. Flatten off, and then go make a fully extended catch right there. The only reason that play happens, I'll go back to the beginning. If DK Metcalf got bumped off at the line of scrimmage, he doesn't get across that safety's face. If Russell Wilson does not drift away from that defensive end, the ball doesn't get off. Since he became a member of the NFL, DK Metcalf has been targeted 35 times in the fourth quarter. That's the most out of any player in the NFL. He's become the best closing receiver in the NFL, and Russell Wilson knows it.
Marcus, I'm glad Dan's going to take this long walk back over here. Take it for us.
I closed ground there.
You really did. Took you a while. Go ahead, Marcus.
Dio, that's phenomenal, man. Listen, people, you may be looking at Megatron 2.0 with DK Metcalf. I want to make an important point about what Seattle is doing. Guys, y'all remember early in the season, last year, we talked about Kansas City's defense and what they weren't capable of doing, and you start to see them make plays in opportunistic times. Isn't that a little bit of what we see in the Seattle Seahawks do right now? KJ Wright with the one-hand interception, Russell Wilson getting the ball, and everybody's terrified and devastated. And listen, if I'm on that sideline, hell yeah, you go for the 4th and 1, Mike Zimmer, because if I'm a defensive player on that sideline, even though I have all the pride in the world and know that they have to go 94 yards, I know damn well I don't want Russell Wilson to get the ball back, because 9 times out of 10, we're going to lose the game. That's being a realist. That ain't letting pride take over. So it was the correct call. But you see Russell Wilson doing a lot of what Patrick Mahomes did last year. And this was my Super Bowl pick. And I got caught up on Tampa, and I'm still caught up on Tampa because they're a little bit more complete. But Seattle is starting to make these opportunistic plays on defense and getting the ball to the side where they are dominant offensively. Damn, Seattle. Step that D up. Y'all might be winning the Super Bowl.
Hey, you know what's interesting, too? When you look back at teams that win championships, a lot of times they can win those close games. Seattle's been doing that. They have 15 wins in one-possession games since the start of last year. Really? That's 5 more than any team. All right, NFL Primetime back with Boomer and Booger this year at Sundays at 7:30 Eastern. It's only on ESPN+. The show's available to stream each week, so you can watch it anytime you want. That's Monday through Wednesday on any device you choose. To get ESPN+, download the app. Go to ESPNplus.com. Getting you ready for Monday Night Football, and Drew Brees has broken several records. Under 4 hours till our Week 5 Monday Night Football matchup. It features rookie quarterback Justin Herbert and the Chargers in New Orleans to take on Drew Brees and the Saints. They've only played 5 times in the last 20 seasons, the Saints winning 4 of the 5. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage begins right here on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown at 6. And time to bring in Lisa Salters from New Orleans. Lisa, the Chargers made a hard choice at the quarterback position this week that left one rookie excited, one veteran disappointed. What did Coach Anthony Lynn say went into that decision?
Well, our Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn told us he likes to make a decision and then let everyone know about it right away so that his team can have clarity. But he said demoting Tyrod Taylor this week and naming rookie Justin Herbert as his starter for the rest of this season was one of the most difficult decisions he's ever had to make. Lynn said, knowing the kind of player that Tyrod Taylor is, the kind of respect that he has throughout the locker room, and knowing that he was sidelined because a team doctor punctured Taylor's lung trying to give him a painkilling injection so that he could play through cracked ribs. All of that, Lynn said, made it a difficult conversation to have with Taylor. But ultimately, Lynn told us the Chargers selected Herbert 6th overall for a reason, to be the franchise quarterback. And while the team would have preferred to have Herbert watch and learn behind Taylor this season, that's just not how it played out. According to the team, Taylor did not make the trip here to New Orleans because he's not 100% healthy yet. Herbert will be making his 4th career start tonight, and he's already played against Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, tonight Drew Brees. That's a crash course in quarterbacking. Laura?
Definitely is. Lisa, we will see you soon on the sidelines for Monday Night Football. Time to pick the game tonight. Marcus, you first. Chargers or Saints?
I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers. 28-21, I think I said.
No, 28-24.
Something like that. Close game.
Legend.
28-24. Close game. But look, naming Justin Herbert the starter, I think is going to give this team a boost. Sometimes that plays in the psychological. And the Saints are giving up 30 points a game. They're the worst defense in the red zone. And when you're talking about playing against an athletic quarterback and the way he's been spending it, and Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry and those guys stepping up, I'm looking for the Chargers to finally have their night.
I love it when you can feel Marcus talking himself into the pick as it goes along. Just naming guys. I got the Saints. I'm playing it safer here, in part because of what you heard earlier about Joey Bosa being questionable. That's concerning. Now, Michael Thomas not playing also hurts, but what we saw last week from Drew Brees was impressive. I have been hard on him. He doesn't need to throw it deep. He just needs to be accurate, short, and intermediate. He was last week. If he can keep that up, this offense should be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints 30-24. They need to slow down Hunter Henry a little bit. They're the worst defense in football when it comes to stopping, covering, trying to defend tight ends. So that concerns me a little bit. But I think Kamara's got 10 catches this game, probably more. He'll have a big night. And I think the Saints offense is much better, in a much better place than people think or give them credit for. The Saints will win, but it'll be a good football game.
I'm saying Saints 31-27, and I think it's also going to be a great game, as you can tell by my score prediction there. I'm putting this squarely on Drew Brees' shoulders. So come on, Drew, show me something tonight. I think he's going to be great, and he always is great on Monday Night Football. Also, how about this, guys? The Chargers, one of two teams Brees has never lost to. The other, the Saints. So there you go. We got more coming your way on NFL Live. The Raiders went into Arrowhead and ended the Chiefs' 13-game winning streak.